apologize, it's been a while since I've made a video, but now that it's Halloween season, sorta-ish, or at least it's coming up, I wanted to make a video on a series that I still love to this day, even though I have my own personal gripes with, which I will semi-get into in a bit. But this video in particular isn't necessarily a retrospective, but more so Child's Play, or I guess Chucky the series now, the franchise, because that's what it's most known for now at this point. And a question that's been stuck in my mind is, what made Chucky so scary? And you'll notice I said made because, unfortunately, with a lot of things, as you grow up, you're no longer as afraid, or you can no longer find the reason why you were initially scared of something. And for me, that does kind of play into my gripes with the Chucky franchise. Not to say that I hate the franchise, nor do I dislike it by any means, but Chucky just isn't really scary anymore. At least to me. And the thing is though, I, among many other children when they first came across Chucky, was absolutely afraid of Chucky. Because realistically, who wouldn't be scared of a serial killer possessed doll? And one that's targeting you, haunting you. And the reason why I think he used to be so scary was because our first protagonist was probably the most depressing of them all. It was a little boy. And Alex Vincent, the actor for Andy Barkley, did a phenomenal job. One thing you'll notice with a lot of kid actors whenever they get put into scary movies, it feels unnatural. And I don't necessarily blame the directors or any of that for why the acting is the way that it is, because obviously we don't want to people don't want to actually traumatize these children, right, when they're put into these scary movies and have to interact with scary stuff. But at the same time, I give major props to Alex Vincent and the whole team behind Child's Play, because holy shit, it is very believable. Even now when I rewatch the original first two movies, I still get very emotional and obviously upset whenever I can visibly hear and see Andy Barkley, crying or distressed. Like, there's two things. There's two major things that for me it's like they better not mess with them. It's either animals or little kids, especially in a horror setting. Like, please, I don't want to see them in pain. And I think that's in particular why the original two movies did so well. It's why they're still fondly remembered. It's why people people long for the days where Chucky was actually scary. That's not to say that Chucky should still remain that serious, scary icon, because he technically never really fully was. Because in the original movie, obviously the initial first 30-40 minutes was definitely more serious, and there was that mystery of like, yo, is the doll actually alive or is this actually just Andy all along? But so you don't get that reveal until later on that no, this is a serial killer doll that is going around killing people. And so now that the audience is aware, they do flip the script a little bit where Chucky becomes way more comedic. Obviously still menacing and evil and scary, but there's still that element of comedic timing and riffing and other stuff that's in his dialect. So, and it is effective, I will say, because I mean, shit, dude, everyone still they still find that scene where it's revealed that he's alive, and he yells at Andy's mom, like, you stupid bitch, you filthy slut, like all that. Like, it's funny. It is funny because it's so absurd. You never would have expected something like that to come out of a killer doll. You would expect, obviously, a response now that he's being threatened to be thrown in the fireplace, but you never would expect that. And that's the thing, though, he still is scary, but he has his comedic moments. But then, once the third Chucky movie came out, once Child's Play 3 came out, it's a little different, and it's not really, I can't really blame Don Mancini, the creator of the whole franchise, because they, producers and executives, they're like, yeah, make up a third movie script while we haven't even finished the second movie, which I'm like, okay, that's so genius of them. That's incredible. And obviously we know that the military setting is not it's not it. Like, it's just not very entertaining. The script isn't very entertaining, and they definitely do play up more in the fact that they play more into Chucky having these corny one-liners and being haha funny, even though he's a killer doll, lol. And it's not horrendous per se, but it's definitely what I consider the turning point for the series as a whole, which is evident because then we get Bride of Chucky, which wasn't very horror. It was more just like slasher mixed with comedy, road trip movie. And then obviously, you know, we got the monstrosity that is Seed of Chucky, but I don't even think anything needs to be said about that movie. And then of course we did get the, I guess, reboot, semi-soft reboot, revival for Chucky, which was Curse of Chucky. That movie did sort of tie back to its original roots of being a more sinister, mysterious, thriller, slasher movie. But then obviously we cut to Cult of Chucky, and it's more just gore at that point. It's not even really horror in my opinion. And again, it's very comedic in terms of Chucky's dialogue and things like that. So, but it's not a bad movie. I genuinely don't think it's a bad movie. I still like Curse and Cult of Chucky. They're both very good movies. Then we got into a long hiatus where there was like literally nothing at all. Definitely not a shitty reboot of the first ever one. Definitely not that. Then we had the Chucky TV series. I'm still not fully kept up with the series. I haven't finished watching the final season for the Chucky TV series, but to my understanding, it ended off on a cliffhanger, and that's really all I know about it. So I can't really formulate my full opinion on it, but from what I have watched, I did like. Obviously, it's a bit more still in that comedic, but it felt like, in a weird way, I don't know if this is a right way to word it, but it felt like Riverdale, but good. But I also could just be biased because it's Chucky. But from what I remember of the first and second season, it was very good. I did like where the direction that Chucky was going to. Obviously, the protagonists in that series aren't like little babies, but they are still compelling enough, and I still grew to care for and enjoy these characters, so that's at least a plus. But as you'll notice, I didn't really find anything outside of Child's Play 3 to be scary. And again, my answers, like, is Chucky still scary? I would say no. I think it's more just the shock factor and like the repulsion, is that the word? The repulsion one feels when you see all the kills and the goriness, all of that. But Chucky just isn't really a scare icon. Definitely a horror icon, but I wouldn't say he's scary. And yeah, I mean, we still have very compelling protagonists, as I mentioned, like in the Chucky, the TV series, but we didn't really get any of that in Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, obviously. We did have Nika Pierce, but that's a whole other can of worms. I still like her a lot, but her story could be its own video on its own, so... But we don't have time for that. So I guess my verdict would just have to be, I think what made Chucky scary initially was the fact that we had such a devastating protagonist. Because, I mean, realistically, just put yourself in Andy's perspective. Imagine being 6 years old and you look to the TV screen and you see the most popular toy at the moment, the very one you've been begging for, and oh goody, you get the exact one you wanted for your birthday. Everything seems fine and dandy, but little did you know that obtaining that very doll would change the course of your life forever, and for the worse. 1 minute, everything is seemingly normal until your Aunt Maggie dies so suddenly, and wouldn't you know, it's your favorite doll that was at the scene of the crime, but no one believes you. And it doesn't stop there. More and more deaths occur, and that beloved doll of yours is becoming more and more human visually, and is still on the loose, killing more people. And now that you're threatening to reveal his true identity, he's coming after you. And you think you're finally free of him, but you're wrong. The years go by and you're separated from your own mother, and it seems like no matter where you go or what you do, he always comes back to haunt you. The foster care system nor the military was enough to keep him away. Imagine having your entire childhood ruined by a serial killer possessed doll. And the crazy part is, you don't have to imagine it because all of that shit happened to Andy Barkley. And that alone is what I personally believe made Chucky scary, and why I think Andy Barkley is one of the most devastating horror movie protagonists. If you want me to cover more horror movies for the month of October, assuming I get this video out sooner, comment them down below. Let me know what you guys think on the Child's Play series or another series that you might like. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Special shout out to Chomps for being a gourmet gummy over on Patreon, and thank you to all my other patrons. Bye-bye.